It's wonderful to be here, and I've come to Assam more than 20 years ago. I was here, and before that, 2-3 times I visited Assam. I feel at home, and I wonder whether you know that Assamese language and Oriya is very similar, more than Bengali. And day before, when the Chief Minister was talking, inaugurating Padmabhushan Center, every word he uttered were their Oriya words. So, not only that, I relate to eastern part of the world. That's not only Orissa, Bengal, Assam, China, Japan. There's a different milieu. There's a different way the light flows from the sun in the east. And there's a humility, there's a tenderness, gentleness. In China, Japan, they do namaskar like this. They take about 10 seconds. And these days we do namaskar like this, namaste, namaste. And namaskar has gone from India to those parts of the world. And I feel somewhere we have lost our, not only just culture, the quality of life. And I remember some 35 years ago, there was a maid working in our family house, and she had one sari, she was drying half of it after bathing. And I said, I'll get you a sari. She said, no, when I get the money, I'll get the sari. When I paid to a coolie 40 years ago in Delhi, he said 5 rupees, I gave him 10. I said, keep the rest of the 5. He said, no, I said 5 rupees. He returned the 5 rupees to me. It's not just talking about money. The ethics, dignity, quality of life that we all had with rice and fish, actually and metaphorically, we have lost it. And I think we should revive. I talk at a tangent. I don't prepare for anything. Even when I paint and draw, I don't look at my earlier work. As if it's a new journey for the first time. My mother used to write poetry in Oriya, and she used to shove it under the mattress. And before she was dying, I was bringing out a book of her poems. Unfortunately, it couldn't be done in Orissa. Somebody, a Punjabi lady married to an Oriya in Delhi, got it, and she knew Oriya, and she got it typed out, and I brought out the book. I see a sea change, in our culture in the East. We are imbibing and copying the vulgarity of the urbanization and modernity. And I'm very, very depressed about this. But I was very happy. Pranav was my classmate in JJ. And Menu Mishra, I knew him when he was a student in Shantiniketan. My sister used to do literature there. So I used to go and spend every summer vacation in Shantiniketan. So I met Menu there. And many of our friends are gone. Ramachandran, an artist, very, very eminent artist, friend of mine, who was in Shantiniketan, passed away 2 weeks ago. And etc. Now, coming back to soundscape, I thought by mistake from landscape to soundscape. It's been paraphrased. Anyway, it's a beautiful word. And I used to write poems in Oriya in my school days when I went to Bombay, from fish and rice to fish and chips. And so I changed to English writing, and Nikhil, Arun Kolatkar, Dilip Chitre, Arvind Kishore Mehrotra, Deep Patel, and R. Parthasarathi and I. We had a group in Samoa Cafe at the Jahangir Art Gallery, where no journalists, no outsiders, nobody was allowed, just us. And every Sunday we met there, and each one of us read our poems. And we discussed about the work. That's it. And many of them are gone. Nissim is gone. Don Morais is gone. Deep Patel passed away recently. I'm sure you know these names. They're very famous English poets from the country. And Professor P. Lal brought out a book of my poems at the writer's workshop. You need some oiling on the hinge. Oiling on the hinge. Thinking of this, I gave a presentation at Chelsea Arts Club, where I'm a member in London, and even physics professor was sitting on the aisle. There were no chairs, but they were seated 20 minutes before we started. Anyway, so what was I just saying? I forgot that these poets, when they had them, Professor P. Lal brought out a book of my poems, and you will be surprised to know, I'm happy to know, that 90% of the artist community in India do not know that I write poems. Because if you don't flaunt it, if you don't publish it, and then they don't know. So, I had a retrospective show recently at the National Gallery of Modern Art, and many people asked me, "Are you still painting?" I said, "Nahi, khas kar raha hu." I'm cutting grass. So, because they think I'm gray beard, and maybe I'm not painting, so it's like that. Anyway, having given you a kind of a scattered preface, I'll read a poem. And it's very strange, in recent past, in last 2 years, I'm suddenly being invited to poetry readings, you know. And so there was a lit fest. Hello, good morning. You can't go. They're paying me for it. No, this is ungraceful. Students cannot leave. No, I'm sorry, I've been also a professor. You should have interest in coming or not come at all. It interrupts. I'm sorry, because I don't come prepared. I'm saying it spontaneously of what's coming to my mind. You know? Sorry. I had an exhibition 10 years ago in Delhi, and I went to London with the Chelsea Arts Club, get my brochure to a friend of mine to see. The next table, there was another friend said, he was sitting with two ladies and having a drink. He said, "Jatin, after that, can I see the brochure?" And when I gave the brochure, he didn't drink for 1.5 hours. They were looking at the paintings. And 90% of the people who come to exhibitions all over the country, they are chatting with each other, and they don't look at the work. So there is, and ours is a great country, and all people are lovely people. There's something gone wrong somewhere in the governance, in the society, in the family, in the educational institutions, and everywhere. Like, you know, when you design, you talk of an architect who's from JJ, I'm also from JJ. As you know, in cinema theatre, the audience, the auditorium is semicircular. So that without a microphone, it can reach out to everybody. And these are, you don't invent the wheel again, you know. So this is why there is an orchestra pit. You have a distance, it's called sight line. And your great architect, whose honor this is done. And we should consider these things in a classroom. I'll read a poem called The Line. And this was written some more than 55 years ago, in Bombay period. In drawing gets drawn by Conti or ink, the drawing draws itself. There is no beginning or end. A light has no history. A light has no length. Only blood flows like a river. The river meets the sea, but a line is never ending. It begins and flows. A drawing is sheer poetry. A poem is night, void without darkness. A line stretches, thought that never thinks. A drawing has no measure of time. Black and white is stark. A line divides space, not time. Both time and space can't hold time. A line begins endlessly and gets drawn for no reason. The famous poet Padmashri, who lives in Saratoga University in the US, is keeping well, a dear friend of mine, and I've done his portrait. Incidentally, I have done about 2,000 portraits of painters and poets all along my life, including Partha. So our Padmashri, we knew each other from early days, Delhi, and he worked in Oxford University Press, then went to Saratoga University. Ramanujam, Raja Roy, and Partha translated ancient Tamil love poetry to English for American scholarship. My long lost friend now eats Taira Sadam. Loin white clad, cleans his lens, and peels the world like an onion, as he did unwrap the layers of language of a virgin to flowering woman. Partha, soft-spoken otherwise. But when he recites sensual verses, chants like a medieval Tamil, he started his wayward journey at Leeds. When he returned with an umbrella and leather briefcase, tanned with accents of T's and D's, but all poems unwrapped and revealed the girl. As he reveals his Tamil language and origin, breaks open the fountain heads of Saratoga Springs. After a decade and a half, when we met, he cleaned his glasses again, wore his dhoti, starched and white, with purity of words. He spoke of breast and sex, standing back like a distant star, with proper phonetic and crystal punctuation. My long lost friend is pure white and Tamil, and one long poem encompasses the journey of many books. Frankly, when you listen to music or listen to poem, there should be no clapping. It spoils the, we have learned, we have imbibed a lot of vulgarity from the West. Not good. Not good. And as I mentioned about the Curvilinear seating arrangement, we should, আমাদের একটা পুরনো ছিল সাধু সাধু.
Yes.
When somebody stops, finishes sadhu sadhu. But real beauty is when you keep quiet.
Yes.
No? Sorry. I quite often in my life give unsolicited advice, and I'm being attacked many times because of that. one more?
Yes, yes, please.
I don't know where the poem is. And these are all old poems, more than 50, 60 years old. It's called The Virgin Night Rain. The stranded night suddenly melted beyond the skyline. The first drop of rain evaporated like a bottle of perfume. The rain caught the pollen of dust, and the earth smelt of fresh and flower. Later, water flowed and sneaked like on a slope like a snake. I followed the streamline, street after street. At a point, my company commemorated to the immobility of the sky. The sky melted onto the earth, and the earth to the street and street, vanished by the locking of the night. My journey came to an end. Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu.
It's a poem which is untitled. A drawing is better than a painting. Pottery centers the mind and the body. Poetry is ingrained in all. Most of all in cooking. Even a painting has to cook. It haunts you. When the color is still wet, the smell of turpentine, getting up to the middle of the night to have a fresh look at it. The form, the colors, the lines. In the middle of all this, a black coffee or a rum and coke. Sitting in the garden, doing nothing, looking at the ants move, leaves fading from trees, and the painting then paints itself. I've got about 60 poems called Kadappa, addressed to southern India, which I've been writing for about 20 years. And Kadappa is a black stone. Kadappa is also a town to Mahabalipuram. And I'm using Kadappa as a metaphor. And there is a publisher called VC in Kerala who's going to do the book. It's not ready yet. And this is a poem called Colorium out of Kadappa poems. Sheen on the bronze body, my glance slides, taut as the weaver's tighten his wet. When the eyes meet, the colorium smudges and turn grey Kadappa to black granite. Her nipples hardens. I can see it piercing through the muslin. All this in glances. When she could not hold herself, held and pulled her braid, hurting herself. A chola bronze, wide open eyes, in Kalamkari Kaloria. This is also a very old poem. It's called The Vertical Man. When a man grows beyond his 20s, he stopped growing like a plantain tree. The leaves turn brownish green. He talks less, not to reserve only, because to lose words means much. Often to do without lunch or dinner, drink or dance, affect little to little. When he grows vertically, he looks back and forward and eliminates and subtracts to find a dividend meaningful. When a man grows with his miseries, he looks straight, folds his hands, and holds his own arms. He doesn't become bitter or concerned, involved or manifold. He unrolls himself to stretch his arms, legs, and lungs longitudinally. He forgets to shave daily, to write home weekly. When a man grows beyond his 20s, he takes a deep breath to hold it till 30s, so that the adolescence in him doesn't stir the condensed thoughts. This is a funny poem called Rum. I'm a rum drinker. The rum, like Ram, plays for and with these days, skipping rum as I approach the IIC bar. Impromptu decide whiskey, vodka, or else. But I'm wedded to rum like a vagabond. Deviate, bifurcate, dislocate, but eventually return to the core, to the pivot. That's nothing but rum. We all were rum drinkers. Sukh, Charlie, Pat, Jug, they rebuked me that I insult rum with coke. I drink Ramuji, Little Kukuji, and Watruzi, Barfuzi. Raghu loves rum. Some think rum is students, artists, and ordinary drink. So Rag takes scotch and puts little coke, which tastes like rum, which he misses but won't acknowledge. Thank you. So this Sukhdev was a great filmmaker, Charlie was a great filmmaker, Jagmohan was an art critic of Times of India in Bombay, and Raghu is Raghu Rai the photographer. Thank you very much. Very kind of you.